Hey everybody, I am Peyton Garland. I'm the editor here at ibelieve.com. And for the past few months, our team has been discussing this idea of a book club. And I am an avid book reader. For me, reading it's almost, if I'm being totally honest, it's just an escape. It's a way to get away from reality and all the checklists and the things to do. And instead, I can just slow down. I can get a cup of coffee and I can just read and be somewhere else for 30 minutes. However, I think for this sort of book club with our incredible audience, I think perhaps book club should be more than just an escape. Of course, it should be enjoyable. Get your coffee, all the things. But what I think is maybe we should find a way to approach literature, specifically Christian literature, so that reading isn't an escape, but rather it's giving us the tools to better equip ourselves for reality. So maybe while reality will forever be hard because, it's a fallen world, what can you do? Still, with the right tools, perhaps we are able to navigate the daily routine with a fresh perspective, with a newfound peace, with a challenged purpose. So maybe reading isn't just our escape from reality, but maybe it's the launching pad for us to find a better way to embody our reality and to show up and be present, specifically for the gospel. So I was thinking that perhaps we could approach this I Believe book club from both fiction and nonfiction. So the Christian realm in this book world, there is both fiction and nonfiction. And I think there's truths to glean from both. Personally, I have read Christian fiction and I've gathered spiritual tools and Christian living practices to put into my life just through reading about other characters. So I don't want to take Christian fiction off the table, but I do want to have both. And I think maybe it's time for us to approach Christian literature, both types, fiction and nonfiction, from three different perspectives. One is relationally. And what I mean by that is while you have a relationship with Christ, and that is first and foremost, it is most important. If you aren't developing your ability to be relational with others, with believers and non-believers, the actual push of the gospel is getting lost. It just falls by the wayside when we forget to, love on people, and we forget how to talk with people. We forget, this is a big one, we forget how to disagree with people in a way that is both respectful and loving. So I think no matter which type of book we approach, week after week, month after month, however we end up doing this whole thing, relationally, we need to challenge ourselves with the text. And then the second thing I was thinking was we probably need to approach these texts from a mental perspective. I know some of you might think, the mental health train has been chugging for far too long. You might think it's overkill. Maybe you think it's an excuse for people's behavior, or maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum and you're saying, hey, the church doesn't talk about this enough. Nobody talks about this enough. I know me, at least, I have clinical obsessive compulsive disorder, and I also have secondary post-traumatic stress disorder. So I'm always passionate about better understanding how, despite mental disabilities and mental diagnoses, no matter how they seek to wreak havoc in my life, I think there's beauty from ash, and I think there's a way that I can apply Christian texts into my soul that better eases my mind, because the head and the heart talk, right? The soul and the head talk. You can't separate the two. And so I think it's so important to understand your thoughts and ways to find peace and understanding so that your headspace and your heart space are both in a healthy place to not only receive truth, but to share truth with others. So after we delve into a text and understand what it means relationally, what it means mentally, obviously the big one is, what does it mean spiritually? And that is such a broad thing, right? Obviously, if it's just this big old Christian book, then it's going to be nothing but spiritual literature, spiritual truths you can glean. But I think if we're being totally real, we never glean all of the truths that one book has. Usually we read 2, 3, sometimes 4 and 500 pages, and we just have that one thing that stuck with us. It could be that one passage of scripture an author mentions, and you're like, "You know what? I didn't even know that's what that verse actually meant. Maybe I should go back and read the whole chapter that verse is in, the whole book. Maybe I should go dig into the history of Israel and what was going on at that time." Or maybe an author shares a relationship between a husband and wife and how they overcome hardship and how they find a new sense of value in one another. And you realize that trust and that active ability to work on a relationship, I mean, that might be something you can take home to your marriage. And so, fiction, nonfiction, I personally am up for both. And I think this is something that we can all dive into and really glean some valuable tools. So, let me know your thoughts. What I need from you is probably, I'm thinking I need at least three things from you. Number one, book club, yay, nay. I'm over here super pumped, but I have to know what you want to do. Number two, how often do you think we should do this? And what I mean is, look, I'm being honest, not everybody and most people don't have the time to read a full book in a week. So I don't think every week we should just do a new book. I think that's a lot if you get what I'm saying. So could this be once a month? Should this be once a quarter? And then how do we want to discuss this? Is this like a chat room? Is it almost like a prayer room where we just share our thoughts and ideas? Or is it something where we might want to upload a PDF, like our scripture writing challenge? Do you think there are truths and quotes and phrases that we can share with one another for journaling? I don't know. What I do know is I'm super excited about this. I love reading, and I think God uses words. Like, there's no doubt about it. Words, they can heal or break a soul. And I think with this incredible group here of believers, and with so many of us, I think there's a lot that we can, I wouldn't want to say accomplish because then that makes book club sound like a job. But I think there's a lot we can learn. And I think there's a lot of peace to be found and a lot of strivings that we can probably put to rest. So please let me know your thoughts. I am all ears. And again, I am so excited and I'm hoping you'll join me.